There is something remarkable about human beings. We are fragile, weak, flawed, and yet, despite all that, we stand up over and over again. We stand up. There is something deeply noble about the refusal to break under pressure. And you might say, but I am broken. Life has already shattered me. No, it hasn't. You're still here. You're still breathing. And as long as you are, you have a choice. You can either let your suffering consume you, or you can let it transform you. The fire that burns everything to the ground is the same fire that forges steel, and you must decide, will you be the ashes or will you be the sword? People like to believe that suffering is meaningless, that the pain they endure serves no purpose, that the world is cruel and indifferent and nothing good can come out of misery. But that is not true. If you look deeply, if you really search, you will find that suffering has always been the birthplace of greatness. The strongest people you will ever meet, the ones who radiate wisdom, patience, and an unshakable presence, are not the ones who had easy lives. They are the ones who were tested, the ones who fell apart and put themselves back together piece by piece. The ones who were pushed to the edge of despair, and instead of giving up, they built wings. You do not become strong by avoiding hardship. You become strong by facing it, by walking straight into the storm with your head held high, by refusing to be defeated even when everything is against you. And yes, it will hurt. It will break you in ways you never imagined. It will make you question everything, including yourself. But there is something on the other side of that pain. There is wisdom. There is clarity. There is a depth to your character that you would never have discovered if life had been easy. You are not meant to glide through existence untouched. You are meant to be tested, refined, and remade into something greater than you were before. It is a terrifying thing to suffer because suffering strips away all illusions. It takes away the comforts, the distractions, the lies we tell ourselves to make existence bearable. It forces you to see yourself clearly, and that is not always pleasant. But there is a gift in that. When you lose everything, you find out what is truly yours. When the world turns dark, you learn how to create your own light. When no one is there to save you, you realize that you are capable of saving yourself. And that is when you become powerful, when you stop waiting for life to be easy and start preparing yourself to be strong. There are people who will tell you that life is about happiness, about pleasure, about seeking comfort wherever you can find it, but those people have never faced true suffering. Because when you are drowning, when you are at rock bottom, when the weight of the world is pressing down on your chest and you can barely breathe, happiness is irrelevant. What you need in those moments is something deeper. You need meaning, you need purpose. You need a reason to fight, a reason to suffer, a reason to keep moving forward, even when every bone in your body is screaming for you to stop. And that reason will not be found in comfort. It will not be found in momentary pleasures. It will be found in the realization that your pain has the power to shape you into something extraordinary if you let it. You must take responsibility for your suffering, not in the sense that you caused it, but in the sense that you must decide what to do with it. You can use it as an excuse to stay small, to stay afraid, to remain a victim of life's cruelty, or you can use it as fuel. You can take the very thing that tried to destroy you and turn it into your greatest source of strength. You can take your scars and wear them as armor. You can take your failures and use them as stepping stones. You can take every ounce of pain and turn it into power. And that is not a cliche. That is how greatness is born. There is an ancient Japanese art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold, making the cracks part of the beauty rather than something to be hidden. The philosophy behind it is simple but profound. The broken pieces tell a story, and the object is more beautiful for having been broken. What if we saw ourselves that way? What if, instead of being ashamed of our scars, we recognize them as proof that we have lived, that we have fought, that we have survived? But we don't. We are conditioned to hide our pain, to cover our imperfections, to filter and edit and present a version of ourselves that fits within society's narrow definition of beauty. And in doing so, we rob ourselves of something precious, our authenticity. The moment you begin to shape yourself for the approval of others, you lose the very thing that makes you special. And for what? To meet a standard that will never be satisfied? There is a reason that people who chase beauty alone often find themselves empty, because the admiration of others is fleeting and it is never enough. A face will age, a body will change, but character, that is something that time cannot take from you. Who you are, how you treat people, the way you carry yourself through life, these are the things that truly define beauty, not the absence of flaws, but the presence of something real, something meaningful, something earned. Think about the strongest person you know. Maybe it's a mother who raised her children alone, who worked 2 jobs and never once complained. Maybe it's a friend who battled depression, who faced demons no one else could see and still found the strength to get out of bed each morning. Maybe it's a soldier who returned from war, forever changed, but still choosing to love, still choosing to live. Do you look at these people and think they are not beautiful because they have scars? No. You look at them with admiration, with respect, with awe. Because beauty is not the absence of pain. It is the courage to keep going despite it. You must stop apologizing for who you are. Stop waiting for permission to love yourself. Stop believing the lie that you are not enough because you do not fit into a mold that was never meant for you. If you carry scars, whether they are physical or emotional, wear them with pride. They are proof that you have endured what others could not, that you have walked through the fire and did not let it consume you. And if you are someone who has spent years believing that you are not beautiful, let me ask you this: by whose standards? By whose shallow, temporary, ever-changing standards? Because if beauty is defined by strength, by resilience, by depth of character, then you are already more beautiful than you ever realized. You must make a choice. You must decide that you will not spend your life chasing a standard that was never meant for you. You must decide to define beauty on your own terms. You must decide to see yourself as you truly are, not as the world tells you to be, but as someone who has faced hardship and is still standing, someone who has been hurt but still chooses kindness, someone who has been through hell and yet has not let it make them bitter. Because the world does not need more perfect people. It does not need more airbrushed faces, more curated lives, more people desperate for validation. What it needs is people who are real, people who are brave enough to stand in their truth, to own their story, to walk into a room and say, "This is who I am, and I will not apologize for it."